G'day guys, and welcome back to another video on the channel. And in today's video we're going to be recapping the preliminary finals, tips and predictions, and as well as that we are going to be revealing my winner of the 2022 AFL Grand Final to see who's going to take it home and who is going to reign and bring home the flag for their club. If you guys do go on to enjoy today's video, don't forget to leave a like, also subscribe to the channel if you are new. We're trying to hit 5k before the end of the year, so if you are new, let's try and make it happen. Let's get straight into the video. So to recap the preliminary finals, we only had one belter of a game, and it started off at the MCG on Friday the 16th of September. It was the Cats taking on the Brisbane Lions, and the Lions were looking good, coming off 2 wins in a row, one over the Tigers and one over Melbourne at the G. So they were they were bloody ready for the challenge, and the Cats were coming off the win, or the week off they were coming off because of the win in the first week of finals against the Pies. And the Cats, it seemed to be a pretty even matchup until the Cats came out and really showed and really just stamped their dominance on the Brisbane Lions. It ended up being a 71-point victory for the Cats, which I certainly did not see coming. I had a little bell in the back of my head saying that it could be a blowout for the Cats, but also another voice in my head just saying that the Lions are on. They've won 2 in a row. They've broken free of their MCG hoodoo, and they are now, able to win games there, as we saw last week they did against the D's. And I thought maybe, just maybe, can they get past a big challenge in the Cats? But obviously the Lions just couldn't stand up to the occasion, and the Cats too strong, too dominant, and just too experienced on the ground compared to the Brisbane list. Ended up getting it done by 71 points and heading into the grand final. And the second prelim final we saw was an absolute belter. It was between the Sydney Swans and the Collingwood Magpies, and credit to the Pies. Just first I want to say credit to the bloody Pies. They were pretty poor in the second half, and they came back real good bloody footy. That's all I gotta say, real good footy from the Pies, and they came back and just couldn't get it done, and the Swans just holding on at their home deck. They were up by 36 points, I'm pretty sure, a few minutes into the third term. So considering that Collingwood came back and made it only a 1-point game in the end, got to give bloody credit to him. A high scoring, just a ripping final, which is what you want to see all around. 94 plays 95. Nice, high-scoring, entertaining game of football, and the Swans were able to get up, and now they're going to face the Cats in the grand final. I do want to say this, I don't really feel bad for the Pies fans out there, seem as though they bloody rubbed it into us when they beat us last week at the G in the semi-finals. So yeah, it's good to see their reactions now, but unlucky for the Pies. Credit to them though, they have had a terrific season when everyone expected them to finish bottom 4. Some even wooden spooners, and the Swans can just hold on in the end, and gonna need to be able to sustain 4 quarters of footy in the grand final next week. So I did get 1 out of 2 tips correct for the prelim finals. I tipped Brisbane to get over the line against the Cats, which obviously didn't happen, but I did in fact tip the Swans to get over the line against the Pies. So I did predict a Brisbane v Sydney grand final. However, it's one of the most likely occasions that would have probably happened if I went with the odds. I sort of went against the odds in the prelims just to make it a bit interesting, see if somehow Brisbane could do it for my tip. But it is the Cats and the Sydney Swans facing off in the last game of the season. 2:30 p.m. start. The Cats play the Sydney Swans in the 2022 AFL Grand Final. Now, a few things to get into. Obviously, the Cats finished on top of the home and away season, and the Swans close behind in 3rd position. However, this one, I reckon it's going to be a grand final for the ages. I know we do say it every year, but I just feel something different in this game, and I'm not sure why. It's just 2 really top quality sides facing off. It's the 2 best sides for the year, and it is proved to shown that there's been no flukes in this. Sydney and Geelong have probably been the best two sides this season. And here they are on the big dance, last game of the season. The Cats coming in as favourites, starting at $1.55 compared to the Sydney Swans $2.46. So the Cats do have the odds to get this done. Sydney have played a final at the G, and that was in the first week where they were able to knock off the Ds. And before they went out in straight sets, obviously. So they won that, then got the home prelim final, and they beat the Pies. So similar paths for Geelong and Sydney, both winning in the first week of finals and having the semi-final break, and now facing off in the grand final. Back to the 2:30pm time slot. You bloody love to see it. I hated how, I guess it's alright how they experimented over the past couple of years, but back to the normal 2:30pm time slot at the MCG. Footy is back, and just what a year it's bloody been. No interruptions with COVID whatsoever, which we didn't see. We didn't think it was going to happen for a while, but it's good to see everything back to normal, back at the MCG for the grand final, which is just brilliant to see. Going to be, just a normal setting for this year's grand final. However, onto the predictions now. The Swans, look, coming off the 1-point win against the Pies, I feel like I said last week in the tips, I feel like Collingwood needed to show a bit more than they did against the Dockers. And I got sprayed for that in the comments below, but what did I say? They needed to show more, and they did show a little bit more fight, I reckon. It was just a comfortable cruisy win for the Pies in the semis against Freo, but the Swans rang it up to them early, and really, if they didn't have that dominant early start, then they would be out of it. But also, in terms of the Swans, I just don't feel like they've been able to play 4 quarters of footy. I feel like they have a nice start to the game in the first half and then drop off slightly in the second half, or the opposite way around. They start off well in the first and then cruise past in the second half. And that is obviously not going to be able to slide against Geelong, and not going to be able to slide in a grand final matchup as well. Every moment counts, every quarter counts, can't be dropping off, and just need to be able to play a consistent 4 quarters of football, especially against, the other best team this year, which is the Cats, which we'll move on to now. The Cats obviously won against the Pies in the first week of finals, got the week off in the semis, and faced the Brisbane Lions last week in the prelim, which they dismantled very, very easily, and now have their home grand final at the MCG. This is just an absolute ripper game. Geelong and Sydney. Earlier on in the year, when these two teams did play, we saw Sydney get up by 30 points, 107 playing 77 in round 2, where Buddy Franklin did kick his 1,000th goal, and the Swans just looked bloody dominant, and they were probably doing it for Buddy. But back in round 2, the results didn't really quite matter, and now, it's the complete opposite. It's the grand final. Whoever wins this wins it all. But based on how just accurate they were last time they played, 17 goals, 5 they kicked against the Cats last time, earlier on in the year. I feel like they're going to have the hunger. They know that they can defeat the Cats as they did earlier in the year. I feel like that's going to be in the back of every single Sydney mind. We've done it before. What's the difference now? The difference is that they've travelled from Sydney. They did play at the SCG earlier in the year, and now they're playing in Melbourne at the MCG, which they are bloody good at the MCG nonetheless. Sydney have claimed the SCG to be their fortress over the past few weeks and just over the entirety of the season, and travelling down to the MCG, where they haven't done much wrong this year either, it's going to be, quite fitting for the Swans. I don't feel like they'll be too nervous about the ground, because they know the MCG very well, and their past experiences in finals here at the G have been some pretty bloody good ones. Now I'll be giving you my prediction for the grand final. Geelong playing Sydney. It's going to be a belter, and I hope it goes down to the last bloody minute. I'll be at the grand final, not quite watching the game, but I'll be working, and then hopefully we can get off a little bit earlier, just so we can witness the end, the siren, the final siren of the season. I'm going to back in the Swans to get it done. I just have a feeling about the Swans going against the odds once again. These finals tips for me have not been good. I've not gotten many right this final series for my tips. However, going against the odds, there's just something in the Swans culture. There's just something in the Swans culture telling me to tip them. They got it done earlier on in the year, so there is no reason why they can't do it again. Obviously, the Cats have so much experience, so much finals experience in their playing 22 side, and they're going to bring the challenge right up to them, but I feel like it'll fall to the Swans right at the death, and they will defeat the Geelong Cats by 3 points and hang up another premiership flag at the SCG. That's going to be it for today's video, everybody. If you guys did enjoy, make sure to leave a like, subscribe to the channel. As I said earlier on, we're trying to get to 5k by the end of the year, so if you haven't already, make sure to jump on, and a subscription would be much appreciated. Make sure to drop your grand final predictions in the comments below, as I'd like to see how mine compare to yours. Cheers for watching, guys, and I'll catch you all in the next one.
Lift that noble banner high, shake down the thunder from the sky. What though the odds be great or small, Swans will go in and win.